Good afternoon to you, Michelle. Particularly familiar within the context of here in the Eastern Cape. As you rightfully mentioned there, Michelle, we are still at the Harewood Great Place, just outside of Flagstaff, right here in the Eastern Cape. And we've just witnessed a conclusion to a media briefing held by one particular faction, or rather that they claim to be the royal family within the AmaMpondo kingdom. And of course, joining me right now to perhaps unpack some of those resolutions, because prior to the briefing, they did have a meeting of their own as the royal family within the AmaMpondo kingdom. So I am joined by Unkosi Chief Nzululwazi Sikawu, and also joining us is Prince Leslie Sikawu as well. Just starting with you, Nkosi, in the meeting that you had within the family members and the extended family members of the royal family AmaMpondo, what were some of the resolutions?
First and foremost, we've gathered here at the birthplace of His Majesty King Makhelane, who gave birth to his various houses that are here today, for a briefing to the nation of AmaMpondo on the gazette that was published on Thursday, the 4th, by the Premier of the Eastern Cape. Here, as we gathered earlier on in the morning, we then discussed and took a resolution to oppose the gazette as it stands, and we also took a resolution to follow the legal route in taking the matter head on.
And then perhaps just again to pick up on those institutions, or rather what you have instituted against the gazette by the Eastern Cape Premier. Have you then consulted with the other faction that is referring to themselves as the AmaFaku? Have they even had any deliberations or consultations with you as the royal family of AmaMpondo Kingdom?
We haven't had time for consultations with the so-called the AmaFaku Royal Family, as we have been constantly back and forth in court on the matter that we are here to discuss today. And I believe that given the chance, we would have loved to sit down and engage as AmaMpondo, because what we're seeking is unity amongst our people, so that we can focus on issues pertaining to development that are very important to the people of our nation, of King Faku.
Prince Leslie, the AmaFaku Royal Family, they say Prince Dumelani is the rightful person to occupy the position or the capacity of acting king of the AmaMpondo Kingdom. But you say his family that he belongs to is a royal council and not a royal family.
Firstly, just to correct you, it is not a sentiment that is perhaps determined by ourselves only. The Premier, prior to issuing out the Gazette, had instituted a process of an investigation as per the Act that governs traditional leadership. That process of investigation was clear in making a distinction between our royal family and what Dr. Mdende had determined was a royal council, referring to the AmaFaku Royal Family. So, the Act stipulates that the Premier can appoint an acting king, provided he has done thorough investigation. And this commission by Mdende stated that the royal family is this royal family of ours, and that where Prince Dumelani comes from, which is the AmaFaku Royal Family, is indeed a royal council. That's how they look like in their composition. So it is our view that the Premier has almost abandoned the findings of the Mdende Commission and elected to go beyond by identifying a person that comes from a royal council as opposed to a royal family.
And just concluding here, pending the investigation or even the legal route that you're going to take, are you then going to submit under the leadership of the current acting as stipulated by the Eastern Cape Premier, that is Prince Dumelani, King Dumelani?
I understand the confusion, but what I want to say is that, just as a matter of example, Ungosuma Sigo Kwebendlala Sikau, who's the head of the house that Prince Dumelani comes from, is here among us today. That basically means if he himself is confused as to why a person far junior to him would emerge as an acting king of AmaMpondo, where he, as the senior member of that particular house and chief, as recognized by the government gazette, is not consulted with this process, it is startling. And the one thing that we want to put out there to the nation is that such actions are often put under the guise of wanting to protect progress. We don't see this as a move by the Honorable Premier. In fact, we see it as a dishonorable move that he has gone ahead for sake of saying he wants to stabilize AmaMpondo. When you throw a cat among the pigeons, you're not destabilizing, you're creating havoc, you're creating further disunity among the people that you are saying you want to protect.
All right, well, there you have it, Michelle, right there from the Prince and the Chief within the AmaMpondo Kingdom right here in Flagstaff, really uttering the sentiment that they believe that the Premier that gazetted that law, making, of course, Prince Tumelani the rightful person to be the acting king of the AmaMpondo Kingdom, is in fact dishonorable move by the Premier. Those are the sentiments of the Prince, Prince Leslie, right here, that I was just having a conversation. So it remains to be seen as to whether they will indeed submit to the authority of the current acting king. But as they are stating, they are going to be, instituting legal proceedings and processes to, further this issue. And it remains to be seen as whether that will be any fruit, Michelle.